Okay, Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Prabhu.
Can you hear me?
Haribol, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes.
Jai. Then that means that's gold. I will push record now. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om
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 Namo
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 Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
So we are reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Oh wait, I need to be able to share my screen.
Oh, yes. Sorry, just a minute.
All right. Okay, there we go. 1 second. Hmm. There we go. All right. All right, so we're reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30. We're almost done with the fourth canto. And text 41. Manur Swayambur Bhagavan Bhavam. Oh, wait. Oh, I did Om Namo. Yeah. Manu Swayambur Bhagavan Bhavamscha Yin Ye Tapa Gyana Vishu Dasatvaha Adristapara Apiyan Mahimna Shruvantyato Tvatma Sama Grinimaha. So Manu refers to Swayambhuva Manu. And Swayambhu doesn't refer to Swayambhuva Manu, but actually refers to Lord Brahma. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Bhava, Lord Shiva. Cha means also. Ye means who. Anye means others. Tapaha, we were talking about that yesterday, means by austerity. Jnana, by knowledge. Vishuddha means pure, like Vishuddha Sattva. The next word is Sattva, whose existence. Adrishta Para, who cannot see the end. Api means although. Yat means your. Mahimna means of glories. Stuvanti means they offer prayers. Ato means therefore. Twa, unto you. Atma Saman, according to capacity. Grinima, we offer prayers. Dear Lord, even great yogis and mystics who are very much advanced by virtue of austerities and knowledge, and who have completely situated themselves in pure existence. Okay, so even great yogis who are very much advanced by austerities and knowledge and who have completely situated themselves in pure existence, Sudasattva, as well as great personalities like Manu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva, cannot fully understand your glories and potencies. Nonetheless, they offer their prayers according to their own capacities. In the same way, we, although much lower than these personalities, also offer our prayers according to our own capacity. So let's Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So let's just talk first before we read the purport about this a point about offering prayers according to our own capacity. Well, actually, Prabhupada gets into it. It talks about it in the purport. So let's read some of the purport before we discuss that. Oops, I have to go back again. Sorry. Hare Krishna. There we go. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Manu, the father of mankind, great saintly persons, and also great sages who have elevated themselves to the transcendental platform through austerities and penance, as well as devotional service, are imperfect in knowledge compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the case with anyone within this material world. No one can be equal to the Supreme Lord in anything, certainly not in knowledge. Consequently, anyone's prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never complete. It is not possible to measure. Okay, so then we get into measuring, which I want to talk about. Um, well, I'll read the purport and then we'll go back to different things. It is not possible to measure the complete glories of the Supreme Lord, who is unlimited. Even the Lord himself, in his incarnation of Ananta or Shesha, cannot describe his own glories. Although Ananta has many thousands of faces, he has been glorifying the Lord for many, many years. Like, that's an understatement, many, many years. It's like kalpas and mahakalpas. He could not find the limit of the glories of the Lord. Thus, it is not possible to estimate the complete potency and glories of the Supreme Lord. Nonetheless, everyone in devotional service can offer essential prayers to the Lord. Everyone is situated in a relative position, and no one is perfect in glorifying the Lord. Beginning with Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, down to ourselves, everyone is the servant of the Supreme Lord. We are all situated in relative positions according to our own karma. Yet every one of us can offer prayers with heart and soul as far as we can appreciate the Lord's glories. That is our perfection. Even when one is in the darkest region of existence, he is allowed to offer prayers to the Lord according to his own capacity. The Lord therefore says in Bhagavad Gita 9:32, Mam hi parta vyapasritya yepisu papayonaya striya vaishas tata sudras tepiyanti paramgatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter of me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas, merchants, as well as Sudras workers, can approach the supreme destination. If one seriously accepts the lotus feet of the Lord, he is purified by the grace of the Lord and by the grace of the Lord's servant. This is confirmed by Shukadeva Goswami, Yenye cha papa ya apasraya shraya sudyanti tasmai pravabhishnave namaha. That's from the second canto. One who is brought under the lotus feet of the Lord by the endeavor of the Lord's servant, the spiritual master, is certainly immediately purified, however low-born he may be. He becomes eligible to return home back to Godhead. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, there's so many important points here in this purport. And the first thing is about offering prayers. And here, Prabhupada is really very nicely focusing on personal prayers. So if we read the 9th chapter of the Nectar of Devotion, there's one in the 9th chapter, there's one subtitle of the chapter called Submission. And submission is our personal prayers. Then there's the next item in that chapter is reciting notable prayers. So that's when you recite prayers that others say, just like we chant the Shikshastakam, Lord Chaitanya's prayers, or the prayers of Queen Kunti, etc. But this verse focuses on personal prayers, and so it's so nice. It is powerful, obviously, to recite the prayers of great acharyas. Narottama Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada's amazing prayers on the Jaladuta and arriving in Boston Harbor, etc. They have it obviously an incredible potency because they're coming from these great pure souls. Additionally, it's so nice that we don't only have to offer those prayers, but we can offer our own prayers. Some of them are in that Nectar of Devotion reference. Some of them are very exalted prayers. Lalala Samayi is one of them that's mentioned, and that's pretty much done when one is starting to realize their constitutional relationship with Krishna in a certain rasa. But even on our level, we can offer daily prayers or prayers when we're in a difficult situation or prayers when we're in a really good situation. But just having that relationship with the Lord through prayer is very powerful. And especially taking, I'm not good at this at all, but I know theoretically that it's very good, taking time to say prayers. Because you're in relationship with the Lord. And I mentioned this the other day that when we at Govardhan Hill, I often take devotees to right in front of Govardhan Hill, and I just say, tell Giriraj your life story, and um, and say some prayers to Giriraj, and they feel that reciprocation with the Lord. So it behooves us to enter into a relationship with Sri Sri Gornitai, with Giriraj, with Radha and Krishna, with our spiritual master, with Srila Prabhupada through prayers. It's every religious tradition talks about this. In some faiths, they offer prayers for days and days and days on end. And just imagine what um, what mood Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur um, was in when writing those beautiful prayers, or when Narottama Das Thakur. What was that, Savendra Prabhu? What was that prayer we were singing last night in the car? That was Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? Such a beautiful prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Sharanagati, and he has a number of books on prayers, as does Narottama Das Thakur. So it's great to recite those, and like I said, also just even though as Prabhupada says in the purport here, they may not be on the level of those great acharyas, or even those great acharyas can't, even Ananta Shesh can't fully recite the great prayers, fully appreciate in his prayers the vastness of Krishna. But still, it's such a powerful way. Of course, chanting Hare Krishna is a prayer. Oh my Lord, Prabhupada, there's so many different ways to translate um, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but Prabhupada gave us one of the most sublime yet simple ways. Oh my Lord, oh energy of the Lord, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in service. And he said that we should try to chant that as a child calling out for its mother. So prayer um, is such a powerful way to engage in a relationship with Krishna. So we should really, not only when we're in a terrible situation, a difficult situation, but regularly pray, because prayer also um, connects us with desire. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavatimati Kriyate Kriyate Myena Kuto Bilabhyate Tatra Loyam Apimulyam Ekalam. That the Ekalam, the one price to pay for loving Krishna, is loyam, is greed, is a desire. And our desires can be a little weak during the day when we just get caught up in things. But when we open our heart up for prayer, our our true desires to be Krishna's eternal servant, are more easily evoked. And that's why, it's important to chant Hare Krishna in the right frame of mind, because it can become one of those routines that we do every day, like get up, brush teeth, chant our rounds, go to work, like that. But it's not meant to be like that. It's meant to really enter into a mood of prayer. So I always found that very wonderful, that this point submission, which is in the ninth chapter of Nectar of Devotion, it means personal prayer that expresses our own sentiments towards Krishna. So any questions, comments, thoughts on this first point in this purport about prayer? Or what questions, comments, thoughts do you have?
Prabhu, I guess one question I might have is I don't necessarily, I don't know if the quality of my prayer is good enough. I understand that it will really help my personal relationship just to use my own words and my own thoughts and feelings and whatever I'm experiencing at the moment. But, you know, as you say, when we read these prayers like from Queen Kunti, and I'm not trying to compare, but just to
You're not in
say,
competition with Queen Kunti.
yeah, exactly. But just to say that, you know, for so many years we recite their prayers and we have an understanding, a glimpse of that, you know, most excellent quality prayer. And I don't know that I feel not qualified is not the right word. I just feel inept. Inept. Yeah, I don't know if that's false ego getting involved there or not. But I'd like to say good quality prayers, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm saying, what if I lack the confidence, Prabhu?
Well, feeling inept can lead to mental narcissism, or it can be very favorable. In other words, you know, it can be a very sweet. You know, Krishna is called Baba Grahi Janardhan, right? Yeah, I'm sure we all know what that means. That he accepts the essence of our devotional offering, and you know, it's just like my son just had his first child about 6 months ago, and so you know any little progress now the child can my grandson can grab things and do this, and any little thing like that you can sit up, and I guess before too long he'll crawl, and then before too long he'll start speaking and things like that, and you know the my son and daughter-in-law, they don't say, "Oh, what a useless kid, he can't even crawl yet." Right? You know, what gives with that? So Krishna appreciates that we may be childlike, but he doesn't like get on our case that, you know, you can't offer a prayer like Queen Kunti. What's the matter? What's the matter with you?
Mm-hmm.
Get it together, right? No, Krishna, you know, just like the parent appreciates the child's efforts to sit up for the first time and not go plop back down, etc. So Krishna appreciates our effort, our sincerity.
Mm.
You know, Prabhupada would say that, you know, serious and sincere are the two prices to pay for bhakti. So just that desire to offer nice prayers and to enter into a prayer. Krishna appreciates that. So Baba Grahi Janardhan means that he's the essence of our heart. Krishna appreciates. So not that we want to remain struggling to sit up our whole life, using the baby analogy, but still, as we may progress in our bhakti and become more mature just as human beings, our prayers will likely develop more. But wherever we're at, Krishna is ready to meet us.
Mm.
Is that all right?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, you're welcome. Other questions, comments, thoughts?
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhu, please
What?
accept my humble obeisances. Um, See, one thing for me is, see, I I can understand the efficacy of the prayers. I see that, I read them sometimes and do it. But personally, I don't know, or I don't feel that how do I do it? Or like I don't feel like doing it from an internal perspective. So to do a personal prayer, what does that what would it make, or what do I need to do to make that happen? How do I do it? That's my question.
Well, you go in front of Krishna at the temple or in front of a picture of Krishna or and you say, Krishna, I don't know how to offer prayers, don't know how to do this. but I want to be your devotee. In other words, we can enter into a relationship with Krishna, even to say what you just said. I don't know how to offer a prayer, but I was told in class it's a good idea. So here I am, Krishna. I'm trying. And in prayer, I mean, so, but also to add to your, to address your question, uh, generally, if there was a formula, it's often that we offer some um, appreciation first. Krishna, you're so beautiful, you're so caring, your pastimes in Vrindavan are so wonderful, and thank you so much for allowing me to even try to serve you. Then we can ask for something, and of course, as aspiring devotees, we're not asking necessarily for a Mercedes or for material things, but we are asking ideally that I want, the goal of life is to love Krishna. So that maybe it's a prayer that I could chant better, or maybe it's a prayer that I can read more, understand more when I read, or maybe it's a prayer that I can serve the devotees better, or maybe it's a prayer that I can serve Prabhupada's movement better, or different aspects of devotional service. Um, and just examine our heart, and what do we really want. That's the ultimate quote. Before saying what should we pray for, what do we want, and what do we want from our relationship with Krishna? And it may be a bit of a mixed bag. We may want some material things, and we may want spiritual things. So we can also tell Krishna understands that. He gets it. It's just like the 10th offense against the holy name, to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It doesn't say to have material attachments, because that's kind of a given, because we're in the material world, but to worship them, and to think that's the goal, to have material attachments, that's to maintain that mentality. So we could also pray to Krishna, I have so many material desires, Krishna, please help me remove at least one of them. you know. Uh, so devotees pray in so many different ways. But the point is that here's someone who's all powerful and all loving. It's a great combination, right? All powerful and all loving. If somebody is all loving but not all powerful, um, they're a nice person, but they may not be able to help us too much. And if somebody is all powerful but not all loving, what happens if they're like in a bad mood? The world is in trouble. But Krishna is both, all powerful and all loving. So he can actually help us, and he really can enter into a very completely intimate, loving relationship with us. So that even just meditating on those two aspects of Krishna, and then entering, he can take our coal-like heart that we think is just impossible to wash, trying to wash coal, right? Pretty hard thing to do. And he can turn it into a diamond. I don't know if any of you, in the old days, there was Superman movies where Superman would take a piece of coal in his hand and crush it and then open it, and there was a diamond. Often Krishna's doing that to us through different things that happen to us in our life. But Krishna can also do that. He can take our coal-like heart and make it into a diamond. Is that helpful?
Sure, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One
Yes.
question.
Hare
I
Krishna.
heard two Hare Krishnas. So one Hare Krishna, please speak up.
I'll let Mataji go. Please go, Mataji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is Kadambini Radha Devidasi. I was just one question, that when devotees go through health challenges and somebody asks us to pray for them. So usually for devotees, we pray to Lord Narasimha Dev for their protection, whether it is their spiritual protection or their physical, like health problems. But sometimes what happens that, your own family members, and they have health challenges. They are not necessarily devotees, but they believe in God, they are doing their pujas and everything, but not as we devotees do, like chanting our rounds and everything. And they ask you to pray for them. So actually, what sort of prayer we do for them?
We can pray to Krishna that their health improves, and then tell them I have prayed prayer to our Krishna, so that they maybe get a little more attachment for Krishna. Um, I mean, we talked last night. There's a like a philosophical level and a rasa level. So philosophically, we can say they're not their bodies, and why are we praying for someone just to get their health together? Just so, I mean, I'm not. This is just tongue in cheek, but just so they can go on with their little puja and onions and garlic or whatever. I'm just saying, there's there's that idea that why should I pray for someone's body? But there's a relationship, there's a rasa. We have some affection naturally for family members. And so asking Krishna that if he so desires, oh, by the way, that's usually one of the keys to praying for such things with Krishna is to add what Prabhupada added in the beginning. Krishna, if you so desire,
Mm.
dot,
Yeah.
dot, dot, I pray for something. So that's also, so that may be a nice way to connect it between, with a family member, just like Krishna, if you so desire, I hope my family member gets better. And then, of course, you can tell your family member you prayed to Krishna or Nrsimhadev or whoever. Um, and that sometimes just helps. It may even help them become more attracted to becoming a devotee, becoming more of a devotee than they are. So, yes, on one level, we're not this body. We've had so many thousands and thousands of bodies, and this is just one, and it's destined to janma mrityu jara vyadhi, to birth, death, disease, and old age. So there is that, but there's also relationships, and it's kind of natural that someone that we've known for a long time in a family relationship, that if Krishna so desires, help them get better. Is that all right?
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
There was
Hare
one
Krishna.
other person, devotee. No?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Madhav here.
Oh, hey, all right, well.
So one question is there a special efficacy or perhaps necessity in repeating the prayers in their original Sanskrit or Bengali, etc.? Because in one sense, I without having anything to back this up, but I do feel that there is like a special sacredness in saying it in reciting it in the Sanskrit. But then I've experienced that, if one doesn't know the meaning, and particularly, I've spent quite a bit of time in places where, they're not used to the verses in Sanskrit, etc., and it's just, it feels like a bit of parroting, or there's not like this depth that is felt, which otherwise would be felt if it were
Yeah.
just in their own local vernacular.
Yeah, Poland is not Bengal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first I'll tell you, so one time in Dallas in the original Gurukula, and
Mhm.
the Gurukul children chanted Guru Vandanam, Shri Guru Charana Padma, right? And afterwards, Prabhupada asked the teachers, do they know what it means? And then he, not chastised, but just said it's most important is for them to understand what they're chanting, to know what it
Mm.
means. So that's one answer to that's perhaps the most important answer to your question. And at the same
Mm.
time, you know, there does seem to be some great potency in the actual words that Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote, or Narottama Das Thakur wrote, or
Mm.
Queen Kunti prayed. So it would also be it also could be very nice to learn the word meanings of, and so when we're chanting the Yeya Nilo Prema Dhana, right? We know what
Mm.
those words mean, and they bring out a special potency. People were critical of one ISKCON leader many, many years ago, like 35 years ago, who started doing all of the services in English. They had an
Mm.
English translation to Sangsara Dava Nalalita Loka, and most devotees thought that was kind of weird. So, does that help, Madhava? That
Yeah. So on that last example, i- is that like a no-go? Is there a shastric reason for why we wouldn't,
I,
translate
I,
everything in local vernacular, but then on the side as more of a secondary, learn the original?
well, like it was just I think it was just kind of weird because they did it to the same tune. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was just kind of, but there's, for example, there's nothing wrong with you're giving a class or something and you just say the English translation to a verse, you know,
Mm.
or there's nothing wrong with that. Although naturally, again, with the Bhagavad Gita, it's so nice when you think about it. I'm literally repeating the words
Mm.
Krishna spoke. How cool is that, right? On one hand,
Mm.
and at the
Mm.
same time, if I don't know what it means, I mean, there's
Mm.
other times when Prabhupada said um, that he would give, he rarely gave a Hindi lecture with English-speaking devotees around, but when he did, or if he was speaking in English and people only spoke Hindi, he said they get purified by hearing it. So,
Mm.
there's a balance, but so the ideal is to know the meanings of the shlokas and the songs that we're singing, and then to maybe sing them in their original
The
language.
original.
But with our it's you can't really sing with a full heart if you don't know what you're singing about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sense?
Absolutely. No, thank you. No, that's a great answer. There's, yeah, I think you said there's something very cool about this, repeating exactly what Krishna
Yeah.
spoke to us. Thank you.
Yeah, and when you like Bhakti Churu Maharaj, when you heard him sing a Bengali song, and you knew he not only knew the translation, but he knew the nuances of the Bengali
Mm.
language. And so you could feel there was a bhava there that would be missing when I sang the same song.
Mm.
So there is a beauty to it. But at the same time, Prabhupada didn't say, he said there are so many Sanskrit scholars loitering in the streets. So he
Mm.
didn't think we had to become like that, but still knowing, memorizing verses, knowing the songs is really nice. Okay?
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? So let's go on to the second point here in this verse. Let me just look at it again. Excuse me. And just about how great, how vast Krishna is. No one can be equal to the Supreme Lord in anything. Um, and his glories are unlimited. So it, excuse me, 1 second. So in one place, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes that, especially for us, it's important to know how great Krishna is. So let's look a little bit at how great Krishna is. Okay, I hope you can see your screen because I'm going to show you a short PowerPoint. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the spiritual world is huge. It's practically speaking unlimited, right? And then the spiritual world is at least minimum 3 times larger than the material world. Okay? And the universe that we live in is compared to one mustard seed in a huge bag of mustard seed. This is considered a rather small universe. And look at all the mustard seeds there. This is one mustard seed, the whole universe. And look at this universe. And there are many, many universes. We live in one universe. And in this universe, listen to this, is not from the Shastra, this is from, NASA. There are approximately 24, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 8, plus 21 zeros. Like this picture is from the, what's it called? Anyway, one of NASA's, this is one little fragment of, maybe 1% of a 360-degree view of, what our little tiny telescopes can see, the Hubble telescope. So that's the one universe that we're in, 24 plus 21 zeros. And that's one mustard seed, a small mustard seed. So how great is Krishna? Right? And then we live on one such planet. There are many countries on this planet, and we're in one country, Australia. And in Australia, there's many states, and we're in one state, Queensland. And in Queensland, there's many cities, and we are in one city, Greater Brisbane area. And in Brisbane, there's one street, what is it called? Lee Road, in a place called Dara, where we were yesterday and the day before. That's just one, I don't know if you call them town or something, in the huge Brisbane area. And in Dara, there's that one street, Lee Street, and there were many devotees at the temple on Lee Road, and yet there was one Vraj Vihari who thought he was really important. So Krishna is so vast. It's, and I think there's a greater, now I forget the name of it, there's a greater telescope than the Hubble one, right? I forget the name of it now. Yeah, I work for NASA and I don't remember. So, and again, these telescopes don't see the entire vastness of practically even our own solar system, what to speak of the universe. So and again, just imagine our universe being one mustard seed in that bag of mustard seeds. So Krishna is so great. He's so vast. It is mind-boggling, even to a person who's not a devotee of God, because like I said, that 24 with 21 zeros after it is not coming from the Shastra, but coming from, astronomers. So how great is Krishna? And or the other way to look at it is from a plenary portion of Krishna, Mahavishnu, these universes are coming out of his skin pores. And what about the how vast Krishna's time is? Lord Brahma lives for 311 trillion 640 billion years. And Prabhupada writes in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that that's a lightning flash in eternity. A lightning flash in eternity, 311 trillion 640 billion years. And we sometimes say, oh, this is a boring class. When is it going to be over? It's been 45 minutes. So time is relative. Lord Brahma experiences that as same as our 100 years, but still, it's, and it's said that his intelligence is as vast as his life is long. And then we read in the purport today that he can't measure Krishna's vastness. He can't offer prayers that fully encompass how great Krishna is. So hopefully this is humbling on one level, then when we're, getting all upset about that flat tire that we got today, and putting that into perspective of 311 trillion years, kind of puts it in perspective. So humbling on one hand, and appreciating just the greatness of Krishna. So when we say Krishna is all powerful, this can give us some idea that that's what he can create. And the spiritual world is so much greater. It's sometimes just said one fourth material world compared to three fourths, but that's one estimation. Other way to look at it is just it's unlimitedly greater. So how great Krishna is, and then he's so wonderful that he can enter a personal relationship with every one of us. Isn't that also totally mind-boggling? Imagine how many living entities are there. There's what, 7 or 8 billion human beings on this planet, and it's in 2 or 3 palmfuls of dirt, there's equal number of living entities as there are human beings on the whole planet. Right, if you include microbes and this and that. So how vast Krishna is, it's as being said in this purport. So some thoughts on that, on just the greatness, vastness, amazing length and breadth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
It really gives a meaning to that word infinitesimal
Yes.
versus infinite. Yeah.
Infinitesimal and infinite. Yes, Madhava. Yeah. We really are. And yet, what was I reading today? If I can find it really quickly. It was in another PowerPoint. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's what I didn't mention is there's estimated 200 billion galaxies in our universe. 200 B with a B, galaxies, and 100 billion planets in our galaxy. Right? Yeah, and yes, in one cup of dirt, there's between 100 million and 1 billion living organisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, etc. It's amazing. So yes, infinitesimal, as Madhav was saying, and yet there's this really interesting. From my research, it's a Buddhist story, but I think we hear devotees quote it as a devotee story. So wherever it is, but it's found in some Buddhist book writing that there's a blind turtle, innumerable kalpas old, living at the bottom of the sea and surfacing for air every 100 years, and a wooden cattle yoke waiting for it amongst the waves in this vast ocean, and the likelihood that the turtle pops its head through the hole of the cattle yoke while surfacing once every 100 years is said to be greater than the likelihood of getting a human birth. Isn't that pretty wild? Isn't that pretty amazing? That's the actual story from, Buddhists also understand kalpas and things like that. And human births. Because there, like I said, in one uh, in in a few palms full of cups of dirt, there's more living entities than all the humans on the planet. So what to speak of, all the dirt all over the planet, right? So, so infinitesimal, as you're saying, Madhava, and also just how rare the human form is. That story really puts it into perspective. Also, countless, yes, I already said that about Mahavishnu. And in one breath, all the universes are created and annihilated. So, how long is one of Mahavishnu's breaths? Yeah. This is that quote, by the way. The author of the Chaitanya Charitamrita has warned the neophyte devotees to be seriously on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is. Only when one knows Lord Krishna's greatness can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. So yes, so infinitesimal, as Madhava is saying, and also infinite. This is trying to give some um, more information about what that word infinite actually means. Hmm?
If I may,
Yeah,
sorry, one other thing. You
interesting.
also, that
Thank
last
you,
touch,
Prabhu.
Go ahead, Madhava.
um, also how powerful the ego is.
Yes.
That whereas even after hearing this, I'm still concerned about my breakfast or about me or
What are
yeah,
you having for breakfast? No,
salad.
no, no, but yeah, right. It does put our life into perspective, and also the urgency to become Krishna conscious, considering how rare it is to get a human birth. Yeah. Did I cut you off, Madhava? Were you going to say something else?
No, 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 yeah.
Okay.
So,
I heard someone else, I think, was wanted to say something.
Oh no, Prabhu, I was just gonna thank you for your example about um, the greatness of space. And I just thought that maybe it might not really, I don't know, it might not really land unless you've done lots of science classes or something. But I think for me, it did because I was brought up on, Star Trek and those kinds of shows, which were amazing and made me think about space and it being so infinite.
The final
Um,
frontier.
you know it. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And we also get spaced out sometimes. That's a whole nother. Yeah, I mean, even if you can go to a place, now it's so hard in this world, but go to a place that doesn't have a lot of, what do they call it? Light, what's the
light
word?
pollution?
Yeah, well, light, thank you. Light pollution. I would assume the farm would probably be, the new governor would probably be pretty good to see it, but if you go to a place like that, the stars are just amazing. It's like a painting. Because again, just with our naked eye, what to speak of these telescopes, but just with our naked eye, just how vast this world is. And then we get upset because someone took the last jalebi. And in the big picture of things, it's yeah. Prabhupada one time someone wrote Srila Prabhupada, Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my most insignificant obeisances at your lotus feet. I have a big problem. And Prabhupada started chuckling. The devotees didn't understand because he read it out loud. And I don't know, there was only a few devotees in the room, but and why was he chuckling? And Prabhupada said, well, if you're insignificant, you can only have insignificant problems. He said, please let my insignificant obeisances. He said, I have a big problem. And Prabhupada just kind of laughed at it from that point of view. And at the same time, when we make big things big things do disturb our minds, so we do have to deal with that, and especially when we're, just like the devotee on the call who said, um, someone said, pray. One of your family members said, please pray for my health, and we're not going to say, why should I pray for your health? You've had millions of lifetimes, and even if you live 5 years more, Lord, what is that compared to Lord Brahma's 311 trillion? We still deal with the here and now, but we do keep the bigger picture. Um, we do want to see the forest from the trees, and at the same time deal with the trees, right? So I once had a professor who said it's okay to have your head in the clouds as long as your feet are on the ground. So yes, we should remember things like how vast Krishna is, how great Krishna is, and all that, and we still have to fix the flat tire, like that, or whatever. Yeah, I hope you get the idea. Other thoughts, questions, comments?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu, Nandotana. Your point about when you said about Srila Prabhupada's thing, I've read once, one devotee was trying to be very humble to Prabhupada, and he said, I'm your most insignificant disciple. And Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything.
Yeah, you're not the most insignificant anything. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You're not the most anything. You're simply a
Yes,
servant. Yeah.
yes. And uh, and in another way, what you explained about the space and everything, I usually contrast it with what we are given to be. The soul is so minute, 1/10,000, the tip of the hair. So
Yeah.
so what is it that we are? We are nothing in contrast, even possibly to the speck of dust is probably bigger than us.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
And yet, yes, very nice point. Thank you, Prabhu. And yet, let's read this one sentence again because it's so powerful. Prabhupada wrote in today's purport, yet every one of us can offer prayers with heart and soul as far as we can appreciate the Lord's glory. That is our perfection. Even when one is in the darkest region of existence, he is allowed to offer prayers to the Lord according to his own capacity. So even though we're so insignificant, even though this life is so short, even though we're 1/10,000th the tip of a hair, we can be perfect. Prabhupada uses perfection if we can offer prayers with heart and soul. So that is Krishna's unbelievable kindness upon us. That we, bhakti, and that isn't that also amazing that the, there was a song in The Power of Love. Bhakti is so powerful that it can take us who are in this material world that's so vast and shoot us right up to the spiritual world in one lifetime if we actually, develop true bhakti. So, and even so, and also, as Prabhupada would mention, Krishna is so powerful, right? All these universes coming out of pores of his plenary portion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that we've been talking about, the vast universe. And yet he becomes subservient to his devotee. And yet in Vrindavan, the gopis are, the older gopis are saying, dance, dance, and Krishna says, starts dancing because of the request of these uh, Ragatmika devotees, these great, great souls. So that's what's so cool, so amazing about Krishna consciousness, and we're so fortunate because at least for me, I'm just this kid from New York. What kind of karma did I have to take birth? I take birth in a lowly city like New York, and not only to understand God, but to at least be exposed to the highest understanding of God, even above other sampradayas. Not that we put down other sampradayas, nothing like that, but just, in the understanding of Vrindavan and the understanding of Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna and Lord Chaitanya coming, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya, you know, to like someone who had no qualification to understand them. it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. Other thoughts?
So, Prabhu, can I just add one bit?
Please.
Keshav Maharaj says, if religion talks or says that the devotee cries for the Lord, that is something significant. If the scripture says the Lord cries for the devotee, that is more significant. But when it says that the Lord comes as the devotee to cry for himself, that is just out of the world. Just thought I'll add to that.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. And there's a lot of religious traditions that do have this idea of praying and crying for the Lord. One time, a devotee asked, this going back to that word sincerity that we spoke about earlier in terms of prayer. A devotee was asking in the early days of Krishna consciousness of ISKCON, is this philosopher Krishna conscious? Is Jung Krishna conscious? Is Freud Krishna conscious? Is Hegel? Is Immanuel Kant, etc. Are they Krishna conscious? And Prabhupada said something really interesting. He said their sincerity is their Krishna consciousness. So that's one thing to really work on, is sincerity. And although, you can define it in different ways, I think we know when we're being sincere. When we're really going in front of Gaurnitai or our deities at home and just with an open heart saying, Krishna, please, please, help me. Let me serve you. It's kind of like, let's say you fall into a well and someone lowers a rope to get you out. And, you're not sure if the person's really strong enough. Okay, that's one way to look at the rope. Or you kind of hold on to it, but, you just wrap it around your arms and think, yeah, it's okay, they can probably pull me up. Or you totally wrap it around your whole body and you hold on to it with dear life. Then the person on top can really pull you out. Right? They might not be able to pull you out if you just hold on to it lightly. You may slip out of your hands, and the person who doesn't trust the rope, that's not going to work at all. But if you really, totally wrap that around your body as many times as you can and hold on to it for dear life, then the person has all abilities to pull you out. So that may be an interesting little analogy for us and Krishna. And the person who's wrapping it around as many times as they can is kind of the sincere person. So I think we just have 2 minutes left. So any last words of wisdom? It's a wonderful purport today. I mean, there were so many wonderful purport. This one is powerful. All right. So then let us end, and we will see. I think we have one more class tomorrow. So we'll see you then. And I hope you have a wonderful Krishna conscious day.
Thank you, Prabhu.
His Grace Vraj Vihari Prabhu.
Thank you, Devesh.
Yeah.
Hi. Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Haribol, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.